You're listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of jaysjournal.com and fansite.com. We are the official ballroom chat for everything Toronto Blue Jays baseball, from game highlights to rumors and all the stuff in between. Here is your host, Craig Borden, with co-hosts Jason Lyons and Liz McGuire. Now let's talk some Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Yo, what's up, Blue Jays fans? We have ourselves a Game 7. And yes, it has been another whole 24 hours since you've gotten to see the goofballs that are me and Jason Lyons. But, buddy, how you feeling after last night?
Well, I mean, what a game. Holy. Just everything you would want from what we're trying, what the team is trying to achieve. They're hot bats. Defense was possibly the best defensive game of the year. And they needed it. I mean, Yusavich did an amazing job, but he did pitch himself into some trouble. And they needed to get out of it. I think the other thing that really stands out, and I feel like there's been maybe not enough talk about this today, is how good Varland and then Hoffman was. I mean, for Hoffman, I know he had a lot to prove based on the fact that John Schneider didn't feel comfortable going to him in a 2-1 game. And I think he answered a lot of those questions. I like Sir Anthony, but I don't trust him as much as I do Hoffman. And I think that Hoffman is one of those guys, like Bob Feil has spoken about, good friend of the show, Bob Feil, that when he was in Philly, he was a killer. Like he was a slit your throat killer. And that's what he was for 2 innings last night.
Yeah, it looked like that mantra was back. I want the ball. Give me the ball. Why aren't you giving me the ball?
So, I mean, it's like, for me, I don't feel any different than I did last night. I mean, it's going to be another fun game. I feel like the Jays are, in a very good spot right now. I feel like Seattle is feeling up against it way more than the Jays are. They've got, how long have they been a franchise? 50 years. And never made it.
It was us, actually. Both of them were founded in 1977.
Yeah. Never made it to the World Series. I mean, they've got to just be thinking everything, all the feels right now in that Mariners clubby. And I mean, I like to think that a guy like Cal Raleigh, who appears to me to be a pretty good dude, but he seems to be well liked. He's just not. Like, even yesterday when he struck out, I think the 3rd or 4th time, like, there's just no zip. There's no, like, at least, J-Rod is mad. Like he strikes out and he's angry. And Suarez strikes out and he's angry. And Dumper strikes out and he's like, Murph. And next. So, I mean, it's, your guys have got to, your guys have got to be your guys. And the Jays guys have been their guys. They've been, everybody has been incredible. It's been fantastic to watch, and I'm really excited about watching the game tonight. Thank goodness the hockey gods shined, and my son's hockey game doesn't start till really late for a U15 game tonight. But that means I should be able to watch the whole game, I think, before that game starts. But, first world problems.
There it is. And then we got, obviously there's Monday Night Football. There's this thing. There's that thing.
No, none of those things.
A wonderful thing in the midst of what's going on here for Blue Jays fans and Seattle fans. And Jason, the one thing that made me the most happy about yesterday was the fact that they did pull out a win to force Game 7, because I didn't want to have to talk about or hear about the fact that the Brandon Little thing was going to be the story of why we were in the off season. Regardless of this whole thing, that was put to bed. That was just that game. Tonight is sudden death.
They really flushed that too. Like, I mean, there was, and I thought that, almost to a fault, like Sportsnet just kept bringing it up and showing him and bringing it up and then showing him and then showing the interview. And you're like, okay, that's enough. But I feel like it might have had the opposite, where it was like, okay, we want the fans to see this. We want to see how much this guy knows that he didn't pitch well. And that, Schneider has confidence in the guys he's going to go out there with today. So, I mean, maybe, our weird baseball karma, maybe it worked, like having somebody actually have one hung on them and being accountable. And I got to give it to Brandon Little. He walked out there and took punches in the face and then was like, yep, It was me. I screwed up. I didn't pitch well. And then I left Sir Anthony out to dry, and it's unacceptable. And I was like, at least you got the stones to do that, bud. But I mean, that would have been a horrible, reminded me of the Twins.
You got where I was going. It was the Jose Barrios story of him being pulled too early all over again, that we were going to be talking about that for years. And like I said, the thing is just completely absolved. It's just because it goes away magically, because one way or the other, it doesn't matter. This whole thing has gotten down to one game. It is tonight. It doesn't matter what happened here, there, or anything in the last 6 games. It is down to exactly where I honestly thought this was going to go, and that is Game 7, Toronto, Canada, this evening against the Seattle Mariners.
I mean, it's a whole nation. A whole nation has something. My good friend Dan O'Toole that I used to work with, and saw a lot of people remember him from TSN. I'm still trying to get him on the cast. He did say yes, but he is limited for time right now. But Dan said it really well this morning. He's like, there hasn't been anything since the gold medal game, barring a few other things, where a whole nation was tuning in for this. And it's funny today. So I'm driving along, and sports talk radio in this city is not talking about the baseball game. They're talking about the stupidest stats from the Vancouver Canucks that no one would possibly care about. And yet they're getting text message after text message and all of this stuff about why are you not talking about, like, I understand you're called Canucks Talk or whatever the show's called, but there's certain times where that takes a back seat. And I feel like Canadian sports media on a whole does this very poorly. Sportsnet does a pretty good job of keeping the Jays front and center or whatever is hot. If it's the Oilers trying to make a run to the Stanley Cup or whatever, they try and keep them fairly front and center. Where as soon as you get off track, like even last night, TSN, I think the highlights were like second, like they had something else that ran in front of it. And you're like, how do you, it's just because it's not your entity, does that make it so that it's not? I don't know. It's lost on me.
I don't know. So on that note, we are going to talk all things Toronto Blue Jays, because this is kind of like a Toronto Blue Jays podcast. I don't know why in the world we would ever confuse that issue. But on that note, I see plenty of you already starting to file in. Jason and I are going to be here for a quick pregame show like we were last night. Please join the chat, hit those like, subscribe buttons, all those wonderful things. And I'm looking literally at Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything right now. So whatever screen you text me on, I will see it. And Brooke, I am sorry I didn't get to your wonderful Shohei Ohtani story yesterday that you put in the comments. I love you, Brooke. It's great to have you when we have you. So anyways, on that note, it is Shane Bieber versus George Kirby tonight. Last time we saw George Kirby, Jason, this was not the George Kirby that was ready for the playoffs to be seeing the Toronto Blue Jays giving up 8 earned runs in the onslaught of what was the brunt of that Blue Jays, first parts of the trip to Seattle. So obviously, Shane Bieber's been a very much of a roller coaster as well. That is the pitching matchup tonight. With those two on the mound, how are you feeling and what's your confidence at?
Jays-wise, my confidence is very high. I think Bieber performed exactly the way we wanted him to in the last playoff game. I really feel like he has bought into this. He realizes how important this is for the city of Toronto. And he's now starting to talk about the nationwide stuff. And I don't think sometimes when guys come in from other places, I don't think they quite realize what that means. Like if there was, let's hypothetically say there was only one team in Mexico. Do you think that one team would have like just a crazy following right now if they were
insane following?
So this is the same, just with a lot less people. But it's one of those things where he's starting to realize that there is more to this. Whereas, Seattle, bless their hearts, they're just in Washington State. Like it's whatever. The
reason they have the following they have is because of the Ichiro, the Edgar Martinez, the Jay Buhner, the Ken Griffey Jr. It's grown to be that fan base.
Right.
You do not, to your point, have this entire wonderful thing as a nation, and then this little pocket right around here in Buffalo, New York. But there is that. So it is just very fun that you get that whole piece to it. And I think if he didn't have that picture already, Bieber got that during the trip to Seattle for the first round of this, trip, because the fact is, you saw a insanely good turnout for Blue Jays fans in Seattle there at T-Mobile Field, and it was just a beautiful thing to watch and witness, because you were hearing those "Let's Go Blue Jay" chants over the TV feed. It was a wonderful thing.
My good friend, and hopefully going to get him on the show coming up here, Dan Payne, he was there, and he said that at a lot of points during the game, the "Let's Go Blue Jays" was so loud. And then when the Mariners fans, because let's just call a spade, saying "Let's go Mariners" is terrible. It doesn't sound good.
Doesn't have the ring to it.
It's too many syllables or too few. So it's one of the two things. It's not good syllable cheering. And he said that the Jays fans would wait for them to say Mariners and then say Blue Jays louder. So they were letting them do the "Let's Go" and then lighting them up on the other part. So he said it was good. He said there's a lot of Jays fans down there. I find it interesting. Like the Mariners fans that I'm seeing in Toronto, I mean, those got to be pretty outlier. Or they've traveled. Like I know Dan was saying that there was a couple beside him that had traveled down from Edmonton. There was a few other people that had come from like Saskatchewan and other places like that to get to the game. So, you've got a nationwide following as well. But I think to the point that we were sort of talking about, I trust Bieber to keep the ball in the yard. He is not a guy that gives up a ton of dingers. The Mariners need dingers to win. And I think on the other side of things, I think we saw the best of what he has, and it's not very good. He's either hurt a bit or he's tired a bit.
Something's not there.
Or something's not there. And I mean, if they march him back out there, and I mean, he relies on a fastball that is very hittable. And if he does, I mean, the way the Jays are going right now, I don't know if you'll be able to keep the roof on the place. Like they could potentially, smash a bunch and really, take this thing to the woodshed. I'm very, very, very hopeful they can keep the same energy going. I'm hoping that they can use, Lucas and Clement and all the guys that are super hot right now, and just keep getting guys on base and scoring them. I mean, it's been so successful for the Jays to get, and you and I have, how long have we bitched about this, Craig, about getting a guy to second and just scoring him? Like, score him. Like, I don't even know if we saw the Jays bunt as many times all season this year as we've seen them bunt in the playoffs this year. And it's
been there. And George, I just think it's
successful.
hilarious in the midst of this whole thing is you hear John Schneider going, "I hate the bunt. I fucking hate the bunt."
Yeah.
But he does understand the time and the place to do it. And honestly, last night when I was able to see, I love that Andres Jimenez was trying to do that and just completely mess with Suarez and Naylor after those couple of, fumbles at third base, because that is it. He was already wearing it. Why would you not take advantage of that whole idea? And it's just like, hey, maybe he's not paying attention. He's a little in his head for trying to barehand that one, and then that one where he went to go pull the ball out of his glove and it just happened to not be there.
I think he was
drop that ball down at his feet.
I still think that he was struggling after the third strike call from an inning prior.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me because Suarez, I've never been a massive fan of his, but he's obviously a very good baseball player. He crushes the ball.
One of the best players in baseball this season. And honestly, if you want to talk about how the Mariners got where they got to, it was those two traits. Period.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially at the end of the year. I mean, he hit 49 or something ridiculous, and I think he hit 16 or 17 as a Mariner, and he was only there for a month or a month, and it's so crazy, a crazy amount of home runs from him. I feel like he's kind of like the kid that on your 9-year-old's baseball team that just everything is the end of the world. Like strikeout, end of the world, pooch the ball throw, end of the world. Like he just wasn't coming back for the rest of that game. Yeah. Very, oh my God. Anyways, so I mean, I think that if you can get on top of the Mariners, and I feel like there's more than just Suarez that are in that sort of emotional to a point. Like J-Rod is definitely emotional, and when he starts getting out and not thinking he has quality at bats, he is definitely impacted by that. I don't think Cal Raleigh is. I feel like he's a pretty even keeled dude, and he just kind of rolls on with whatever's going on. But
Agreed.
Even Plonko, like when he's not getting pitches he can hit, and when he feels frustrated, he looks, he's on the bench, like, and it's. I get it. There's nothing worse than the feeling of a team just rolling, and you're like, we can't do anything to stop these guys. Oh, let's go hit a home run. We hit a home run. They hit another one. Like, ding. Holy crap! Like, what are we doing here? So, I mean, there's a ton of stats. There's a million stats out there. Like I think 10 of the home team eliminations are everybody's won their home team eliminations. There's all kinds of.
The one stat that I thought was rather telling was the teams that forced a game 7. The home team is advantaged like 30-15 over the
crazy.
last however many years or whatever what it was. So it was slightly obnoxious, which it makes sense. The Blue Jays crowd, to your point, is 100% the 27th man tonight on this roster. And they have way, 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 way more power than I think a lot of people realize. I think we saw that on display yesterday. Once you started seeing Logan Gilbert on the ropes, you saw him getting pushed into the corner, and then the Blue Jays just started popping the body. But to that point, it was the crowd that got everybody into that whole thing. And that was 100% the thing that got them nervous, missing balls for those double plays for Trey Savage as well.
And you know what? And it's interesting because Derek Jeter, the day before Game 6, he said out loud, I feel like the Blue Jays look like Rocky in Rocky 3, where Drago came out and started kicking his ass. And then they came, Rocky came back, and then Drago was like, I'm still going to kick your ass. And then he started kicking his ass. And then Rocky started chopping him down. And it just those brutal gut punches, where he's bleeding and he's coughing up blood and everything. That's what it feels like now. And Game 7 to me feels like those tee up punches at the end, where he starts to bleed and the corner's yelling at him that he is human. And just watching Cal Raleigh get punched out yesterday as emphatically as he did every time. It's just like, that's what it is. It's ground and pound. It's you've given up. I've forced you to give up. And it doesn't matter if you hit a home run. We're going to go hit 2 or 3 more. So, to
that point, the boxing match metaphor makes too much sense here for you, Jeter, everybody, because they went punch for punch, blow for blow for the first 4 games of this series. Things have settled down into, they snuck one. They stole Game 6. Game 5, Game 6, the Blue Jays found a way to just keep chipping. You look at that box score from last night, there wasn't a major decisive blow. It never felt like the Mariners were completely out of it, outside the fact that what you had mentioned was the wind was out of their sails a hot minute.
Yeah.
And to that point, you just felt like something might happen the entirety of that game. And then Hoffman comes in and does what he did. Louis Varland did what he did prior to that, and just literally just put them into the corner until the bell rang and we walk away with a win. But tonight is that final shot. This game could go on forever, but I do agree with Michael here in our wonderful chat. The Jays need to get in on this early, get the crowd thunderous, because if they don't get something on the board, that bullpen is very intimidating for the Seattle Mariners, and they're in the same situation as we are. All hands on deck. There will be nothing left, no stone turned after the end of this game.
I mean, the one thing that you can take from that too is because Munoz is so good that if the Jays can hold a lead or even a 2 or 3 run lead, they're going to have to go to him by like the 6th inning, I would say. And if that happens, if that happens and they can get through those innings with him in and stay ahead, the Mariners have nothing behind him. And once he's in, it's, that's it. You have to try and get to Munoz as early as possible, or, to Mike's point, maybe get up 6 or 7 really early. And if you do, then they don't have anything to do. They can just keep throwing, mess at you, but
Yeah.
I mean, I feel
the
like
quicker they can get past Kirby is going to help them, because to that point, their bullpen is wearing it a little bit right now, because we got into them early yesterday. They had the long games. You can see that their bullpen's
tired.
It's tired. And you can see it in their pitchers, just like ours. I'm not saying that our guys aren't, but you can see the Mariners wearing their pitchers out a little bit more at the moment. And I do think there is something to even getting up to a couple run lead. And that might be enough to scare them away from Gilbert. Is it going to turn into 8 again? You know what I mean? It's that whole thing.
They've gone to a couple of their studs, and their studs keep getting hit. And you know, I feel bad for that kid from Ontario. I can't think of his name right now, right off the top of my head, but apparently he came into the playoffs like untouchable.
And he's worn it.
Yeah, and he's just worn
that one too.
You know, and it's one of those things where even when they beat the Jays up in game 2, I think it was, and they brought that lefty in. I don't know if you were watching, but they were talking about how much Miles Straw, Schneider, Springer have all gone to work on hitting on this guy's thing on the Fudgetron meter. And they're just wearing them out, like they're wearing out the machine on his settings. And it's like, oh, I mean, does that give you an advantage at home? Of course it does. If the Mariners don't have one of those machines in their own dugout or in their own, I don't know if they do.
I'd be hard pressed to think that nobody in Major League Baseball
doesn't have one
at this point.
But
the secret's out.
If you are specific and you work specific, you will get results, because there's nothing that person can do. You can't change your motion. You can't change your arm slot. You're just going to, either you can up your velocity by amping yourself up, or drop your velocity by creating more spin. But I mean, that's a pretty tall task to ask somebody to do.
Because the only other thing you really can do, and Luis Castillo is notorious for doing this, is just jack with the freaking hitter's timing, put that little stutter step in, or hang your leg just a little bit longer. It's all those wonderful things, which is the art of pitching in a nutshell. It's not just velocity. It's up, down, in, and out, is what you always used to say to all the kiddos. I'm sure you said that same or something similar to them. You got to be watching for everything. And I think that's where the Blue Jays offense has been, to your point, finding those wonderful stellar moments to be able to find a way. That home run that Vladdy hit yesterday, it's like he knew that pitch was coming. And Yankee fans, I'm not saying he knew what was coming.
Did you see the interview with with Barger after the game, where he was talking to the guys from MLB today? And Barger mentally was able to go through the pitches without knowing. I mean, maybe they did discuss it after, or maybe when he got into the dugout, they were like, the order on was splitter, cutter, fastball, splitter, cutter. And
he said he was high on the fastball, and he wanted to make sure that he was ready for it, but then he kept throwing splitties to him, right?
Yeah, and the funny part was when he said, after I swung 10 feet, the ball was 10 feet out of the zone, I figured I probably should lock in on the next one.
Splitter.
But yeah, I mean, it's, I feel like a guy who's as good as Vladdy is, as good as his eye is right now. I mean, he's seeing everything well. The Jays are putting themselves in a situation where they have to start to challenge the Jays bats. And wherever you seem to go in the lineup for the last couple of games, for sure, they'll sting you. Like, I mean, Jimenez had 2 really good games, and Vladdy's been good in pretty much every game.
Barger's found a way to contribute.
Barshow
is still
squaring the ball up.
Yeah, Ernie Clement's hitting triples off the wall now.
Can we just realize how goofy what Ernie Clement and Nathan Lukes are doing right now is? I mean, it's idiotic. When you look across the diamond, or even look to a team like the Dodgers, and I mean, they've got, is it Tommy Edman or, I mean, he's the same. He's Nathan Lukes. He's Ernie Clement. He just hit 600 in the playoffs. That's just what he does. But it's incredible to me to be able to watch that happen. And then you look at a guy like the DH, or he's playing a little bit of outfield now. I think it's Canzone, or I like to call him Calzone because it makes me laugh. But you've got a guy who is, I think he has 1 hit in the entirety of the thing, and he had an okay year. He wasn't crushing the ball.
But there is a spot there that they don't know what to do with, to your point,
I guess. I mean, what's his name? Crawford. Crawford is not a good hitter anymore. I mean, he's a great infielder. He just doesn't hit the ball well anymore. And so you've got 3 guys down there, Rivas, him, and this Calzone guy, and none of them are great hitters. And if you serve them the right pitches, they will either ground out or fly out over and over and over again. They seem to love to do it.
They still scare me to that point that they're a major league hitter for a reason, Jason.
Yeah, I know.
You never know.
Have you have we done our the lineup yet? Can I do the lineup?
If you haven't, no, we haven't talked about the lineup yet.
No changes. No changes. Springer is leading off and DHing. Luke's in left. Vladdy at 1. Kirk behind the dish. Varsho in center. Clement at 3. Barger in right. Jimmy Chicken and Waffles is in at second, and then Jimenez at short. So I mean, it's let's get going. Can we just start this game now?
I know. Gotta wait 2.5 hours.
I know. I got stuff to do.
Son of a. I know, right? I got stuff I gotta get done before too.
Yeah.
But Blue Jays fans, last couple minutes of the chat here. Please hit us up with those wonderful comments and everything. We see you there, and all of MLB Network. If I want to get you all going outside of Sean Casey, who thinks the Mariners are going to win tonight. So, of course, Harold Reynolds is picking his old team, but I have a strange feeling. I'm still hoping that the Blue Jays are still. I like us being the underdog. I don't like that the fact that they're all calling us. Heidi Watney's the only one that's on our train, apparently.
Well, and so it'd be amiss to not mention this. Big kudos to Hazel May for hitting that moment that she had on the field with Laddie. I mean, that was
perfect. It
was incredible. It was amazing. And, to just be able to put that in a can and, to hear the roar of the crowd when he just took it, like he just sat there and took it all in for a minute. And there's so few people that would do that. There's so few people that would, just take a second and just be like, whew,
She's just so good at her job, man.
So good.
I'm
so good.
I don't get to watch all of it right now because of the whole, being on the wrong side of the border thing. But I'm so thankful that Sportsnet's been putting her and all the wonderful Blue Jays content up, in the fact that I get to see the good things in a call from Dan and Buck, all those wonderful pieces to that whole thing. But oh God, I cannot tell you how bad it is to watch Joe Davis and John Smoltz just pick a way to talk about whichever way the wind's blowing and be horrible at it regardless.
Smoltzy has come back around on me. He was I didn't like the way he was sort of dealing with I don't know, I just didn't like it. Like I've always been a fan of his, and it was almost like he was just like just giving up on giving up.
He literally said on Thanksgiving, put a fork in the Blue Jays. They're done. They just lost this whole series. Here we are at game 7. So I'm just hoping we get to shove it right at them.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, like I said, I feel like this is going to be a good game. I feel like there's some electricity in the air. I feel like the crowd is going to be insane, I would assume. I mean, it was been pretty good last night. I feel like the level will be cranked. Sort of like the 3 dudes that are sitting behind home plate.
Literally full on, just like,
dude, that's 3 big dudes.
What the fuck you feeding them all up there, man?
Well, the funny thing is the poor guy that's sitting behind them, I'll bet you he didn't say anything to them all game. Every time they stood up, he was like, look through your armpit. Like, yeah. Which
way do you go?
Into the game, like Craig said, like there's at least 50, couple hundred people in here. If you guys are going to the games as usual, send us pictures into the Discord, send us video, FaceTime Craig.
Share it.
I'm sure he'll answer. We'll put his phone number up here.
There it is.
Just enjoy yourself and be loud and be fun. And if the Jays get down, don't let it drag you down. Just keep pushing them forwards, because we know all these guys all these guys need is a little spark, and that's all they can just take a whole game over. And so, it's a great feeling. It's a good time to be a Jays fan. And, there's only 3 teams left in the whole darn thing.
Exactly.
And so, it's a big one tonight, and I want to be able to hear that. It was funny when, like, being in Vancouver, there certainly are people that are cheering and all the rest of that. But when who was it? Was it Vladdy's homer? You could hear it. You could visibly hear it out here. People in their houses and stuff yelling, and it's awesome.
Yeah. So we do have one last comment to talk about, and it is
good.
Boom Boom Birdland on our Instagram feed is asking, who would you say this game has more implications on? We talked about this at the beginning of the show a little bit, but let's just put a bow on it as far as things go. The Mariners are literally trying to get to their first World Series ever. The Toronto Blue Jays, we at least have a couple of World Series wins in our, and two, pennants. Thank God it's both the World Series wins. But I do think that this is definitely the, Mariners have to win here because it's that I don't know if this team is going to be the same together. They're going to lose Suarez. They're going to lose Naylor. They have a lot to lose if they lose this game, where the Blue Jays are going to be sitting pretty damn good regardless of how this game turns out. Obviously, we want a World Series. But I just think I think the onus is a little bit more on the Seattle Mariners to your same.
It's not a little bit, Craig. I think you're being nice. It's not a little bit. And I feel like even if the Jays are to lose tonight and the Mariners are to go on, I feel like the Jays fans will be disappointed, but I don't know if anyone will be sort of at a level of manic or, like any of that kind of stuff. It's been a good year. There's been a ton of positives. This team is going to be good for another couple of years. We've got that. Yeah, we've got all that going forwards. Whereas, like you said, like the Mariners have not been, they haven't been that close to the sun that many times. And every time they get close, they seem to just flame out. And they've been real classic flame outs too. Like
Seahawks.
I was trying to think about the teams. The 1 year, and I can't remember what year it was, but they were the best team in baseball by a lot, and they were an all-star team, and they got smashed up in the playoffs. And it's like, okay, maybe you weren't ready for that, maybe you just weren't built for it or whatever. And the Jays are on house money right now. The Jays are playing like a good winning baseball team does. They're having fun. They're, everybody's into the game. It's awesome. So I feel like the pressure is 1,000,000% on the Mariners.
Yeah.
What's up, Dakota?
Totally agree with Dakota on that one here. That's let's go Blue Jays as much as humanly possible. So on that note, I do think that this is the Blue Jays game to lose. I really think the momentum in 100 billion times other pieces are in the Blue Jays' favor. And I just can't imagine the fact that, we're missing these pieces to that point. So this game, they show up and do what they did yesterday. Everybody's up for each other. Nothing's on, no holds barred tonight. It really wouldn't even shock me if they got to a point where it's like, hey, Trey, get the hell out there. We need one splitty from you to finish this inning.
Maybe. I mean,
you know what I mean? It's literally that.
Max is available. Bassett's available. They're all
Gossman,
there. Gossman
everybody
will be there. I mean, it's empty the tank night. And my hope is that it's pad your stats night for the Jays hitters. And my hope is that Bieber can give us about what he gave us last time, if not maybe even more. I felt like he had a little bit more in the tank, and they were playing him with kid gloves a little bit on his last start. I feel like he wants to win way more than he's letting
hungry,
on.
Man.
Yeah, like he's trying to be all cool, and it's the new mustache and all the rest of that. He's trying to be cool, and he's not. He's as amped up as any of the rest of them, and he's a.
He wants the ball.
Watched him talking to Scherzer yesterday on the bench, and it's like, yeah, that's the right guy to be talking to. So
Bieber, I watching him sit in the dugout yesterday, watching this game. He's just like, just get it. I want in, and you could see that he wanted this game more than anything. And I do think that he's going to come out so amped up to the point where his arm like literally fall off, but that's besides the point. No holds barred. So, but to this point, Dakota in the chat, first off, buddy, thank you very much for finding us. We are very, very, very happy to have you here on the Barroom Chat for Blue Jays fans, along with the almost 100 people that are listening and across all social media right now. To your next point, the chances of beating the Dodgers, I think that is a battle that we will save for our next show that we will be recording on Wednesday, probably one way or the other. But to that point, Jason, the Blue Jays are playing for something else tonight other than a World Series potential berth. They're playing to play at home tonight.
Yes. That is a very big deal because the Dodgers have not played at Rogers very much. And so Chavez is Chavez. It's not there's nothing really funky to Chavez, but there's a lot of funky stuff going on inside Rogers. And when they close the dome or they do anything else to it, the Dodgers don't play well in domes. They never, ever have. Any kind of sort of wind impediments sort of don't do well with the Dodgers. But I mean, Dakota, you watched what they did to the Brewers. The Brewers are a pretty good baseball team. You watched what they did to the Phillies. Phillies are a pretty good baseball team. I mean, it is going to be a Pier 6 brawl every single night. And if the Jays get on past today, and if they play or when they play the Dodgers past that, it is going to have to be low down, dirty bag baseball. Bunts, steals, dives,
all hands on deck.
Everything. You cannot. Nothing can get by you. Nothing can touch the ground.
I think the Blue Jays have a damn well better chance than a lot
than
of
the Mariners
started. Yes.
Oh yeah, the Jays match up way better. Yeah, correct. The Jays match up way better than the Mariners do. But I mean, the Dodgers do everything well. Their defense is great. Their bats are incredible. They steal base. That guy who's playing center for them is a rocket. The guy steals second and third on the same play if you'd let him.
Yeah. So on that note,
yeah,
we got this game to the Blue Jays' own personal mantra: one game at a time. So on that point, Jason, is there anything else you'd like to hit us up with here before we wander off and obviously go get ready to do whatever, like I said, like yesterday, lucky rabbit's foot, make sure you get the right, jockey strap ready to go or whatever your lucky piece might be.
I was going to go back to the gray hat again. But they went to the white fronts again and won again. So I'm split. Yep. Maybe I'll start with the white front and then I'll always go. You stick with that one all the time, don't you?
Yeah. Well, it's because this is my favorite hat and they've been winning. They lost with the white panel. I'm like, got to change up the luck.
Yeah, there you go.
They start winning again with this one.
So. Yeah. All I can say is, guys, have fun tonight. If the Jays lose, don't get too down. It was a great year. And hopefully we've got way more baseball. Remember, we will be live more than likely as normal on Wednesday. That's our normal day, Dakota. And for anyone who's just discovering us as the Jays are
7 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday evenings is the normal 4 p.m. if you're over where Jason is in the Pacific Coast. But to that point, it's going to be fun one way or the other. So we're going to always find something to chit chat on with Blue Jays, with baseball. We are always going to have wonderful guests for the regular Wednesday night shows. Make sure you join and we will be doing that kind of thing. Right now, we are not doing a lot live stream during the games because there is that whole ritual thing that we were just talking about that we got to make sure we're in the right place.
There's a lot, Dakota.
My wife has been saying we're good luck when we watch together.
Yeah,
and she's been 100%.
There's lots of good guys. At Gate 14 has a good one. There's a few other friends of the show that do a good one. Craig started out doing that that's how this whole thing started.
Gamecast.
Yep. But we've just decided that I don't want. Yeah, there's our Discord. You can join. If you want to chat
to us during the games, scan this little guy right here and join the Discord. So Dakota, if you're wanting to chit chat with us, Jason, I, and a bunch of other people, including a literal rock star, are actually in that chat. So make sure you join us and goof around. It is a fun chat. Obviously, we are still very active on Twitter during the games as well. So make sure you just chit chat with us and join. And we'll just talk all Blue Jays baseball regardless. To that point, because of the playoffs, we haven't exactly booked a lot of wonderful guests. But I've been talking with, just to name drop a few people, trying to schedule a date with Todd Stottlemyre again. Bob File will be on the show once again. Ricky Rowe has been uncommittal for a date as well. We have some really cool people that love to join us and chit chat and goof around with us, including Brooke Knows Ball and some other wonderful talents that are just baseball people, period.
Vernon Wells. I got Vernon. Vernon. I'm chasing Vernon down on X.
Same thing. But I've been. I love how Jesse Barfield likes to chit chat with me online through our Twitter account. But then whenever I bring up the hey, come join us, crickets.
He's the best. I mean, that would be Jesse. The ultimate. He was one of my favorite players to ever play. I'd be so starstruck if he came on. I wouldn't even know what to do.
So on the starstruck moment, if you all haven't been reading the little ticker tape thing at the bottom here, we are quickly approaching our 500th episode, 487 as we record tonight. I am trying to get some fun things for you, all of us, to chit chat and goof around and have a fun time on episode 500, which is honestly, if we keep doing all these wonderful things because of the playoffs, Jason, it's not going to be spring training like it originally was. It's going to be
No.
So on that note, Blue Jays fans, thank you very much. Appreciate all of you. We look forward to having some wonderful news surprises also for you for the turn of the year here. And we're going to chit chat Blue Jays. We're going to talk baseball. And hopefully after tonight, we are going to be talking World Series baseball against the Dodgers. So lights up. Let's rally. Let's go. Go Blue Jays.
Woo! Thank you for listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdwatchingGC and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.
Woo!